It's so lovely to be here, and I hope that I will remember who I am and what I've come here to say now that the bright lights are on me. But this is our first time here at the Black Property Group, and I'm amazed that it's only just started since October last year, because what a vibrant group of property pros. I mean, I've spoken at a few. I'm not a professional speaker, but I was really impressed by the level of organisation and detail of the Black Property Group team when they were, arranging this with me. Right, thank you. Right, now, okay. So this is what I'm here to speak about this evening, and it's basically the story of two sisters and 3 years. And actually, most of what we're talking about happened in 2.5 years. So if you're just starting out, and quite a few people that I've spoken to this evening are just starting out, it's really incredible what can happen in a very short period of time. So I'm just going to crack it off, and I'd love to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, obviously ask them. Maybe we'll keep them to the end. I think we'll keep them to the end, but there will be time for me to answer all your questions. Or if you don't understand anything on the slides, or you've got a quick point that you need clarifying, just ask, and I can answer that as we go along. Okay, so let's see if I hit the right button. No. It's maybe that one, is it?
Yeah, which one did you press?
The square.
Don't get yourself distracted.
Don't hit the square button. Okay.
Forward, backwards.
Right. So to start off with, yes, I want to take you back to 2016. And basically, this was the situation that I was in. Like many people, I had a job. It was a well-paid job, but it didn't allow me to do the things that I wanted to do. I felt trapped, but also quite confused about what I should do. I had heard, that there are strategies that you can get into property, but I didn't feel that I was a property person or a business person or the type of person who can start in property. And so for many years, I just carried on going like that. But then there was the phone call that changed everything. And it was one morning, I was in my harbourside flat in Bristol, and I was just getting ready. It was a sunny day, and the phone rang in the morning, and that's unusual. And it was my mum, and she doesn't normally, as I say, call me in the morning. She doesn't normally ask for things. But when she was on the phone that day, I could hear that she was, I knew that she was ill, but I could hear in her voice that she was worried and anxious, and it sounded like she'd not slept, and she just called up, for that bit of reassurance. But then as soon as she got on the phone, she didn't want to worry me, you see. And although I have talked about this quite a few times, it still gets me every single time, because what I realised when I went to work in the afternoon, while I was on the phone, I was worried about her, but I was also worried about other things. So I was a bit distracted. I was worried about getting to work on time. How long is this conversation going to take? Am I going to be late? What about the presentation? What about the project? What about the meetings that I have coming up? And but while I was sitting at my desk in the afternoon, then it hit me, and it was just like a punch in the belly, because I just realised that the bank would be fine without me. If I hadn't come into work that day or any other day, the bank would be fine without me. But my mum wouldn't. And so when I made that choice to go to work in Bristol instead of going to see my mum in Birmingham, that was the wrong choice. And also, it just made me think, I've got to make my life to be how I want it to be so that I can make the decisions I need to make. So that if Mum was sick and I needed to go to Birmingham for a few months, I could go and still be able to live the life I wanted to live. Because what happens is, or what happened to me is, this is Cyril, by the way. Cyril the squirrel. And what's happened to Cyril in this photo is that this cage is supposed to be rodent free. And but Cyril's got in. He's had all the nuts, so he's feeling kind of good. But he's eaten so many nuts he can't get out. He can't get out. He's stuck in there. So that's a bit like me at the bank, where there's a lot of nuts in there. There's a lot of nuts in there. You know, it's well paid. It's a good place to be. But on the other hand, when these things come up, I can't get out because this is where I need to be, because I need this for the lifestyle, to fund the lifestyle that I have. But the thing that happened with my mum, and that realization, it's just the most mundane things that sometimes can be the catalyst that really change things for you. And for me, that day was the day that it made maybe I can change things, maybe I can do that, but with no real commitment behind it to, I must change things, I must find a way. And really what happened after that still surprises me. So myself and my sister Nicky, who you've probably seen this evening also, we didn't know about any of this. We weren't business people, we weren't property people, we didn't have a lot of money. But within, and also I'd failed at a lot of things. I'd failed at things that even other people find straightforward, like learning to drive. I wasn't somebody who had a track record of success that they could look back on and think, yeah, I can do this. But because of the reasons that I'd already said, I decided that I needed to try. And what then happened over the last 3 years has really changed our lives. So we started off with the rent-to-rent strategy, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more, and many of you will know, where you rent a property from a landlord, you pay them a guaranteed rent, and you rent the property out for more money to tenants and manage the property, and you can make money in between. So we've got that business up to it's actually £360,000 a month on the rental income turnover. We've sacked our bosses, we've systemised our business and employed a full-time property assistant. It's £360,000 a year. And each contract is for 5 years that we have. And over the contract period, this is gross, not net, it's over 1.75 million that we have in those contracts. So we did it, and you can do it too, because we're not special. And I like that person. Basically, one of my missions now is, I wish I had known this years ago, when I really struggled as a single parent on benefits, and I thought, how could I make more money, or how could I give Alex, my son, a better life? And I really, you really wish that you had known all this sooner, because if you think about this, 3 years, and if I had started this 13 years ago or 23 years ago, or so it's great to see people here who are still in university, who are just starting this right now, because the more time you have, the less good you have to be to start off with, because you've got all that time to get going. So I really want to share this message about what you can do, because there's so many people out there who are telling you what you can't do. And so it's really, the motto of it is yes, you can. Yes, you can invest in property with little money. You can sack your boss within a year, and you can make over £100,000 from properties that you don't own. And I know that you might be a little skeptical, and I was skeptical, and these numbers and these strategies do sound a little bit far-fetched, but I'm going to show you as we go through that no, if you've been told you have to have a lot of money, or that it's illegal, immoral and wrong to make money from other people's properties, or if you've been on other property trading courses and you've had taken in information for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days or more, and then you've gone back to your work and you've been excited, but then you haven't been able to implement it, all of that is wrong, because you can do it with the right information and support. So as I was saying, I enjoy being out with people who are like I was, who are looking for something more than 9 to 5, who want to create real wealth and freedom in their lives. And yeah, the people like you who want to take action, who spend their evenings like this, and who are go-getters, who are unstoppable. Because, as I say, yes, you can. So let me come on to what we're talking about this evening. And it's the three of the secrets to rent success, the little known tweaks to get you the properties faster, how you can get out of your 9 to 5 faster, and also how you can buy money with little money. So very briefly, could I ask how many of you are doing rent to rent or thinking about doing rent to rent? Wow, so quite a lot of people. And is anybody hearing about rent to rent for the first time? Is anybody? Yeah, okay, cool. So I remember the first time I heard about this, and my jaw was actually on the floor. But so what is rent to rent? We're going to talk about that. It's a very simple strategy. You pay the owner guaranteed rent, and usually you take on paying the bills, and you rent out the property to tenants for more money, and everybody's happy. The landlord is happy because they've got a guaranteed income with it's truly the hands-off situation for them. And for you, you can work, put your time in, and then you make money that way. So secret number 1 is how to get the properties faster. And the big question that people then ask is, why would landlords work with me? Because I think they hear this strategy and think it sounds way too far-fetched, and that why would landlords do it? So I just want to quickly show you why landlords would do it, and I'm going to introduce you to 2 of our landlords and the properties and why they have chosen to work with us for what seems like less rent. In actual, as you'll see when we go through it, it's actually more rent. So this is Maria, and she's got a 7-bed property, and with some nice signage. And basically what happened is 5 years ago, Maria bought this property, and she invested in it to refurbish it, just like the deal that you had there. This was a similar kind of deal. And she spent a lot of money on it. It took more time than she thought, took more money than she thought, and then she gave the keys to the letting agent and says, right, there you go, look after this property for me. And this, what you're seeing, is sort of what happened over the next 5 years. So it's only a short period of time that it takes to really go to the dogs. So what had happened by this stage is that out of the 7 HMO rooms in this property, only 3 were occupied and only 2 were paying rent, and 1 was needing to be evicted. So you can just work out the maths yourself. These rooms are averaging about £400 a month. That's £800. So that's not covering the mortgage and the bills. So she's losing money every single month. And it was just a sorry state. So you are the solution. This is the fear that holds people back, or a belief that holds people back, and the belief is, this won't work, landlords won't work with me. And that's a belief that stops people from getting their deals. So you are the solution. This is the property afterwards. So when we got in touch with her now, she's getting guaranteed rent every month now. She she paid for some flooring and so on, and a new shower to be put on in, and we paid for the furnishings. So this is the property now, and we're now managing it, so she doesn't have to be involved. She was having to go there every week to clean it. Long story, which I can't go into now, but that's not how a property investing should be. And she was still losing money. So I'm sort of hammering home this "you are the solution," because people really do find this hard to believe. And I think this was the thing that I found hard to believe when I first heard the strategy. And you can see why a landlord might find you attractive when you see that differential. And you know, a lot of people who first hear about us and then see this system have the same reservations. Now, this is a little video clip, but I don't think we're going to be able to play it, which is... Oh my gosh, it's working. I thought I would just give you from the horse's mouth. And this is one of our landlords, and I just want to, it's only a few seconds long, so I'm going to play this for you.
I came out of heaven about a year ago, and it was a letter through the post, to be honest with you, and thought, this sounds too good to be true. So we immediately had our suspicions about how this would be working out. So I went over and met with Steffi and got on very well, and this could well be a way to continue owning the properties and to hopefully have a secure future with the properties in Newport. I've worked with HMO Heaven now for about 12 months, and it's actually been good fun. I've enjoyed it. They've taken all the stress, all the headaches, all the heartaches out of the refurbishment, which was extensive. There are pictures available, I'm sure, on the website, but it went from being a very, very derelict, almost unlivable in property, to what is now quite a boutique finish. I'd see them as being partners rather than agents or remote property managers. I see them very much invested in the property. They have an invested interest in the property, and as a result, I know they won't let me down because they care, basically. Years ago...
I'm gonna skip him. He says, years ago, as a South Welsh boy from a rough school, he didn't believe in dragons, but now he does believe in angels. That's how he finished it. But, so, obviously, you're not going to typically have properties that are in that sort of state, and with those two properties, it's two ginormous properties, the landlord did pay for it, and we managed those refurbishments for them. So you offer what landlords want. That's basically the secret. And all these things, this is all you need to know. This to get the deals is that they want their rent paid on time, they want their properties looked after, and they want minimal risk. And that's something that you develop over time with the trust and the letters. So secret number 2 is how to ditch your 9 to 5 faster. And this is about making sure that you are taking the one action that's going to be delivering most of your results. And that is going on viewings. Because the reason why I've got this one up is many people have or say that they have a rent-to-rent business, but they're actually not doing the things that move the needle forward to move your business forward. And moving your business forward is all about getting the properties, and that means that your number one goal is they're going on the viewings, and that's by talking to landlords and talking to agents. So we talked about the landlord situation just a moment ago, and so now I'm going to talk about the agents. And what happens is that confident, intelligent people with high-powered jobs give me this look when it comes to talking to agents, that look of terror. And that is normal, because we hate rejection. And to succeed in this and to succeed in lots of things, you have to be able to let go of that fear of rejection, and then it becomes just a telephone call. or just a conversation, when you can let go of the fear of rejection. And the sooner you can do that, the more successful you can be, because it's relatively simple things that you need to do to succeed, but you have to do them consistently, and even when you feel terrified. So I want to introduce you to Temi to show you the story of how to work with agents and sort of move from being nervous about it and to getting quite confident. So this is Temi, and that's her with her beautiful family. And Temi was worried about talking to agents, and very shy. And when she started with our Kickstarter coaching, she decided that to get herself over this, in week 1, that she was going to start calling the agents. It's not something we expected at that stage. And this is what Temi thought. She was interested in rent-to-rent, but she just really didn't think that any landlord would give a property to her. And because she's shy, she was thinking that she wouldn't be able to speak when it came to actually seeing the agents. And the first telephone call she had did nothing to allay her fears. So she called the agent. Her heart was pounding, and he was just sort of on rapid fire saying, "Oh, I know what this is. No, I don't want to do this. Why would I do this?" She still persevered with the conversation though, and but eventually it didn't work. And when she put the phone down, her heart was still hammering, and she just felt like she'd been in the ring with Tyson, even down to having her ear chewed. And you know that feeling where you just feel so despondent. And that's what I mean about when I say that there are simple things, but sometimes they can feel hard to do. But she remembered what we'd said to her, which is that obviously every no is one step closer to the first yes. And she picked up the phone again, and it went okay. It wasn't perfect, but the next agent was okay, and they had a good conversation. And then she made some more calls, and then the following day she made some more calls. And what happened was that second agent, that second call, called her back the following week, and that second agent gave her her first deal. And that's just how it happens, through persistence. Within 4 weeks. So her story is also on the Rent to Rent Success YouTube channel, so you can see it there. But why I told you that story is you don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to be great to start. But you do have to start to be great. Because as Temi, in her own words, was shy, with no property experience, no business experience, a young family, but she used all these things as a reason for action and not an excuse. So this is the biggest message, really, for everything that we do in life. It's to have that self-belief, because it's really the self-belief that enables you to do the things that feel tough in the moments when they feel tough. Really the belief is, and the mindset is kind of 80% of it, and then there's 20% that's the tactical things about what you actually need to do, the simple things. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about here. What do agents want? Because when you deliver what other people want, you get what you want. And agents want is their fees paid, their rent paid, and the property looked after. Now, everybody knows these things. But the thing that people forget, and that's really important, and that's one of the most important things that people want, and the reason why not every agent is going to say yes to you, is because they also want minimal risk. So this is the thing that we have to work to demonstrate. In everything that you do, in all parts of your relationship with an agent, you always have to do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Because this is what they do want. They want to let their properties out quickly and easily with minimal hassle, minimal risk. And that is what you can deliver for them. So you can become the go-to person for the agents. Now, there's two most important things that agents are looking for. Can anyone hazard a guess as to what they might be? Yep. Yep, great. Good. Yep.
Good contract.
Good contract, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
They want their money paid on time.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. So they do want, the thing that people think that they want the most is experience, because what people say to me is, what am I going to do? What am I going to say to an agent when I am new, when I don't have any deals and I have zero experience? How will I get my first deal? That's what people say. Well, actually, experience is not the most important thing. The most important things are likability and trust. When people like you and trust you, they will do business with you. That minimal risk thing is all about trust, because they want to give properties if they believe that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, they're going to give them to you. So the reason why I say this is because if you think about it, we wouldn't have got our first deals, Timmy wouldn't have got her first deal, anyone you know who's just started in property, in rent to rent, wouldn't have got their first deal if experience was the most important thing. So, as I say, you can become a go-to and have the properties coming to you. And this is just a quote of people realising that they can do it. So secrets number 3. How to buy properties without any cash. Now, this is an exciting one, isn't it? This is... so, yeah, that's probably what you're saying. I don't kind of believe this, Steph. This sounds a little bit far-fetched. And yeah, it's actually how to buy properties with little cash, not none at all. But I just want to talk about some of the properties that we've been able to buy. We've now been able to buy properties that are worth over £1 million, and I'm just going to walk you through some of these properties and how it works. Now, we did actually pay money for this one. So, but this... Would you buy a property that costs £33,000 and brings in rents of £500? So that is what you get when you get the multi-unit block. Who's the multi-unit block person? Yeah, that is what you get with multi-unit blocks. I won't tell everyone. That's what you get with multi-unit blocks. So it's a fantastic way of buying properties. Now, we only came across this strategy by accident. I haven't got time to tell you the whole story right now because there's a man flashing big numbers at me at the back. So basically, we bought this property. It's got 12 units, 11 resi and 1 little commercial, and it works out, it's £380,000 to buy, but it works out to £33,000 per unit, and they're going to be £500 and more. £40,000 was the rent roll when we bought it. It'll be £60,000 when we increase the rents, because he had them very much under market. And it only needs a bit of, well, more than a bit of spits and polish, but not a refurb where you're sort of remodelling the whole building, it's just doing it up. And then this one is one that we bought. It's a commercial property. Well, it's a house, as you can see, but its planning status is a commercial property. So we have planning now to change it into 4 self-contained flats, because you can see we kind of like this whole self-contained flat business. And because it allows you lots of different multiple exits as well. You can, and this is another thing that you can look at if you're just entering in, because this property is 150 or was £150,000, so it's not a huge amount of money. And then the refurb is probably going to be at 70k, so all in at 220, and then you've got your 4 flats, and it's right next to a train station, so you could go service accommodation as well as long term. Oh. So this is an 8-bed HMO that we manage on a rent-to-rent. This is one of the no-money deals. So it's these opportunities come to you when you start in rent-to-rent, because this is what people say to me as well. I sort of think rent-to-rent might be okay for me, but I want to buy property as well. You can use rent-to-rent as your first step, but get some experience. You know, get that confidence going within yourself, because it's easier to sell yourself to someone else when you believe. And having some experience that you don't need a huge amount of money to get into can help you get there. So this is a property that we're now buying, and these are the numbers of how this property works. The way we're buying this property is like we're paying monthly, and the rent, instead of being rent, is actually coming off the purchase price, and then we get to pay the rest of the amount in 5 years' time. So basically, we've got the property rent-free for 5 years, and we get to then pay the rest, well, at which time we can remortgage it or do the finance however we want. But that's basically the deal structure. Thank you very much. Yes. Right, so as you can see, these are the figures. This is showing the costs of running this property. So we've got the rent to the owner. So previously he was losing about £1,000 a month, and now he's getting over £1,000 a month. Typical costs. Income, or this is very tasty for Wales anyway, maybe not as tasty for London, but just over £3,000. And then we've got our refurb. We buy new furniture, so you can really keep your refurbs much lower by either hiring the furniture or getting it on buying second-hand furniture. But our cash flow on that deal is £1,222 after taking into account, after minusing the refurb, because we got this deal, originally we had it for 5 years, but now we're buying it. But it's a nice little property, as you can see. And just quickly to show you, and so say, look how cute they are. But it's basically the difference of 5 years. It's a short time, and a lot can happen. So we're only 3 years in, and masses has happened. So the baby, the boy on the right has all these skills and abilities that babies don't have, and it's going to be the same with you on your property journey. Wherever you are now, in 5 years' time, with consistent actions, you're going to be in a very, very different place. And this is the magic of the 5-year period, because that deal, the deal that I just showed you, this is the summary of the numbers. So at the end of year 1, minusing off the 10 grand we paid, we make 6,000 and odd. But after 5 years, it's 73,000 and odd, which is really nice. And that's really where you get that compounding effect. Oh God, could somebody else do this talk? If you two could come up on the stage with me. So let's stop for a second. On that one property alone, we make over £73,000 over the 5-year period, and that's over £14,000 a year, which is a beginner salary for some people. And that's just for managing one property. So think if you had a handful, or if you really wanted to scale it up and turn it into a business. Ooh, so hang on a moment, you're probably saying. But I really, really like the sound of this. The guys at the back has now stood up. So how to buy properties without the cash is basically be in the game. When you're on the pitch, when you're in the arena, when you're on the field, you are where the opportunities are, and you can't wait until you know everything. When we first started, we knew very little, but we just decided that we could figure it out on the way, because the first time that I told my partner and I told my mum that what I was doing, and my partner sort of said to me, but what about if the landlord wants the property back? What about the law? And what about if you lose your money? And what about the contracts? And you're not a business person, and all of these things, which were all true. And I really took that down to heart. And over the next few days, I thought, you know what? That's right. I don't know why. I don't know why I think I could do this. And but what I realised, it's such a simple thing, but it really changed my mind, is that no one knows. Before you start, no one knows. Before Richard Branson started his first company, he didn't know how to run a company. He found out what he could and he figured it out along the way. And when you give yourself permission to get to know, to get in the game and find out, everything comes to you. The resources don't come to you before you put yourself out there and decide that you're going to be resourceful. Is it okay if I carry on? I've only got a little bit left.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, right, okay. I thought you were clapping because that was the end. I thought, oh my gosh, it's like that lady at the back with the 20 seconds. Okay. Thank you, you're just clapping, you're clapping the content. Oh, appreciate. Okay, I really haven't got very much more to say. So the surprise is not only the money. The money is great, but the special thing is that we've had to grow. I've had to grow into somebody who I'm a shy person, or I'm an introvert. I love meeting people and so on, but I'm an introvert. And but the passion of property makes it possible for me to come and speak to you and really enjoy it and be excited to be here. Still a little bit terrified, but be excited to be here and be able to share it, because I get to work with my sister. We know that we can buy our mum a house when she moves to Wales to be nearer to us. And also my son, who is in IT in Birmingham, he can join the business as well. And that is such a blessing to us. And it just makes, from that time when I was at the bank and felt that, you know, your life kind of feels like it doesn't have a meaning, it makes our life feel meaningful. And right, I'm just going to flick through this. I've not been able to, but you get the picture. So what I was saying with the previous slide is, if you're confused and you're not sure if you wanted to go on or if you wanted more information, we also have a coaching course, which I'm sure you'll find out about. But we have free resources, lots of free resources online that you can download. And this is one of them, the 6-step system to get your first deal. And I'll show you, there's a website called rent2rentsuccess.com where you can download this. But you will get more details from the team with all these resources. So, and there will be some training, but I'm not going to say too much on that because I know that there will be an announcement, just a moment. And this is all about, imagine when you get your first deal, and maybe rent to rent is not for you, but you're embarking on another strategy, or maybe you're already in property and you're taking things to the next level. And it's an amazing feeling when you envision something and then you make it into a reality. And this is my final slide. And it's, is it my final slide? Yeah, it is my final slide. So I think do we have time for some questions?
1 minute, apparently. So, any questions to the floor, real quick?
Hi. Yeah? Sorry. Okay. Yeah, you can shout. I can hear you.
I was just wondering, with the new changes in section 21 and proposed abolition of that, obviously we'll have difficulty of giving properties back after a certain time. And what do you think about it, and what is the way around it?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's been a change, or there's a proposed change to the section 21, which is how you evict a tenant. And the proposed changes say that you won't be able to evict tenants without a reason. But I'm sure that either the landlord selling their property, moving back into their property, taking back ownership over their property are all going to be reasons which are included in the new section 21, which means that it will still be possible. So I don't see it as a big issue, but if it is an issue, we just have to follow the law and say we'll have to exit a tenant according to whatever the new law says.
Any more questions?
Just on that point, hey, I'm Nicky. Also, our contracts are designed in such a way that would mean that if there's a change in law or legislation that means that we have to give back the property as an example, then, you know, we'd be able to get out of the contract as a result of that. So essentially, the guaranteed rent agreement with the landlord would remain on if necessary. But as Steph said, if Section 21 goes away, as part of it going away, there will be a strategy and approach the government will have to share as to how we move around.
Okay, so I know you had a question right at the front.
What's the best way to propose a rent to rent to a letting agent?
Well, I think basically it's just to be real, because there's people within the group who are new, and the letting agent knows that they're new, and they said, I like you, so I'm going to call you back when we've got a deal, or they've already given them a deal. So I think it's just to be professional, always do what you say you're going to do. Give them clearly, explain to them how you can deliver what they want, and be real, because people have got that really highly attuned BS detectors, but what they can feel when someone's real. We've all got that innate human ability to feel when someone's really true and authentic, and if you can be true and authentic, it's a people-to-people relationship. If they like and trust you, they're going to give you a go.
Last question.
Sorry, really new to this, but is the agent different from the landlord, going direct
Yes.
to landlord? So
Yes.
there's two different methods to approach both of them?
Yes, that's right. So there's two ways. So you might have a landlord who owns a property and he's managing it himself, or herself, and he's got into some sort of problems, and you can offer your solution direct to the landlord. I can give you guaranteed rent, I can do this, I can do that. Or the property is being managed by a letting agent, and the letting agent is managed the property, and you can speak to the letting agent and say, look, I can make your life easier, you'll still get paid your fees. They get paid fees by the landlord, and they'll still get their money and everything else. Okay, I'm going to be here until late. so I really look forward to talking to you all. So if you have got questions and you haven't had time to ask your questions, I am going to be hanging around for a while, or you can always contact me through the website or through the Facebook. Okay.
Round of applause for Stephanie.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you.